And then we got Craig, and we got backup Craig. We're good to go. So yeah, whenever you're ready, I'll give you the countdown.
Okay.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome back to Games Embassy with the Ambassadors of Gaming. I am one of your army of hosts, Ambassador Chris.
What's up, guys? I'm Ambassador Jason.
And I'm Ambassador Michael.
And welcome to our corner of the internet where we have news about stuff. Jason, how are you today?
I'm doing really well. It's a great Sunday. Just finished having some breakfast a bit ago.
I had a very, very unhealthy breakfast, but that's what happens when you're a college student. Mike, how's your box?
Oh, it's good. I got a new box, if you're unaware. I moved into a new box. It's been great. It's a little bit more spacious.
You've moved so many times since you've been to Florida.
That's
and it
true.
Makes me mad.
If you lived in Florida, you would understand. It's just the thing you have to deal with Florida.
Oh, I've been to Florida. It was garbage incarnate.
Florida is basically the Republic in California. That's the only way I can describe it.
If I was to put a morbidly obese man on a treadmill for like an hour and his ass was just sweating, I feel like if I took a microscope and zoomed in on his ass, I would see
that
Florida.
Would be Florida. Yeah. That's pretty much what it's like living in Florida. It's like being on a sweaty person's ass.
Yeah.
It's basically what Florida is to the rest of the country.
I hated it. It was gross. But enough
bashing of Florida.
Enough of that.
Let me tell you about why you should give us money. That's how you do that, right? Anyways, so we have a Patreon page. That's where you get all of the best stuff. So Adam does his videos over there. You get some exclusive op-ed stuff from him. He basically spends a couple of weeks working on those. So him and I work together pretty intimately on those, and they're very good. They're very high production value, and you can get them for literally $1 a month. Jesus, I'm cheaper than a McDouble. What do you want from me? That's pretty much it.
Does that say get some cool perks and things that are good?
And things that are good, yeah, because you were complaining about how I wrote goody. So I wrote things that are good instead.
But you still have goodies in the last sentence.
Okay, well, you know what? I can only do so much.
Things that are good. I'm going to start saying that now.
You could get early access to shows, get comments, questions, concerns read on the show. Our Patreon right now, he does not feel the need to voice his concerns, but he has the power to do so. And that's pretty much it. So we got a group chat going up this week, an exclusive video going up this week. We just recorded another group chat that's going up, should go up today. So yeah, lots of content coming to the Patreon and early. So if you want to get in on that, you can do so over at patreon.com/ambassadors of gaming. And obviously we always have the links in social and on the description and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that's for all the things that are good. Make sure you go there for those.
All the things that are good.
All the things that are good. That sounds like for some reason it makes me think of the Powerpuff Girls intro. Sugar, spice, and everything nice. I don't know why. Enough. Okay, so let's get into some updates, announcements, and other miscellaneous news. Chris, take it away. Thanks, Chris. You need to learn how to read who does what in what order. But yeah. So Capcom looks to be set to release a Resident Evil 3 remake. Rumors have circulated for quite some time that the game may be getting a fresh coat of paint, but the sources seem a bit unreliable. These new leaks come from someone who leaked The Last of Us 2 release date accurately, so there is a bit more credibility to them, though. Eurogamer has also given credit, saying they have heard that the game has been in development for quite some time, and it should release in 2020. That wouldn't surprise me at all, considering how good the Resident Evil 2 remake did.
Right, exactly. So it seemed pretty obvious. It's also very exciting.
Jason, tell me about Rocket League.
Rocket League is a great game.
Yeah, it is.
All right, so Rocket League. Rocket League.
Rocket League. Who has the best cocaine?
Rocket League's loot box replacements are coming in December. Players will earn blueprints, which will show the exact time players will be able to purchase. Okay. The game will also...
I put time, but I meant item. I'm just
Okay,
dyslexic.
I was wondering. I was like, what do you mean the exact time? Like, you're only allowed to buy this December
dude.
25th at 2:00.
Yeah, the dyslexia is strong. So that's on me.
All
Anyways,
right.
you can continue.
So players will earn blueprints, which will show the exact item players will be able to purchase. The game will also feature a new timed storefront where you can purchase items directly, just like Fortnite. And you can have the
Like,
anxiety of not being able to get it when the timer reaches 0.
Pretty much. It's a
So give
good
them your
business
money.
strategy, but
It
I
is,
don't
but
know.
it's so annoying.
It is.
It
It's super
makes me
obnoxious.
think that makes me think of a kid who's been like saving his allowance, and every week he just spends his allowance on Fortnite skins. He's like,
Oh, I'm
"Mom,
sure
I
there's
need a
one.
raise. This is only I worked out all the money that I have to buy all these things, and I won't be able to buy everything by the time the timer's up. Oh
Yep,
no!"
It definitely is happening in more households than we
Dude,
want.
I
it
think
to
I've
be.
already said on the show how I heard a kid explaining to his mom how she needs to buy him a skin in Fortnite, and she goes, "This is the most expensive free game I think I've ever seen."
Yeah, dude. That's very accurate.
their
Fortnite is very
their
expensive.
yeah, their model that they have going where it's like you get that anxiety of not being able to ever get it again.
Right.
It's working quite a
Right.
bit.
The FOMO is there, really, really there with Fortnite. It's weird because now they have such a large variety of content as well. So it's like you really don't know when you're gonna see something next.
And
So
not only that, the partnerships they've been making, like just recently with Star Wars, and they had
yeah,
the
they had the
Stormtrooper
Star Wars one.
skin, and
Right.
Marvel and
They had Batman. They had Stranger.
Batman,
Yeah.
Stranger Things. Like, there's no other game doing
Right.
that.
Exactly. Not with that many partnerships on that level, for sure. And when they do that, they become a permanent part of the game. So, like, you know what I mean? For those who
Yep.
purchase it, so it's not like a limited time thing.
If you think of it, it's kind of like an achievement,
Right.
like Microsoft achievements that are like. Well, I guess I can compare it to World of Warcraft, where it's like server first
Right.
achievements of hitting level cap server first, defeating the raid boss server first. It's like those like time stamped achievements, but you didn't really achieve anything besides giving them money.
Pretty
So
much. I mean, it's working. They're making a lot of freaking money, and they canceled everything else they were working on. So,
oh
I mean,
yeah,
it's working for them. But let's talk about some more weirdness. Shenmue 3 rolled out a very weird embargo and then immediately changed it. So the embargo was originally set for 2 days after the release of the game, but Deep Silver got pushback on it, the publisher, and then they just moved it to the original release date. So that was weird. I don't know why you do that. Like, here's reviews for the game after the game's out. That kind of defeats the whole purpose of a review, if I'm going to be
yep,
honest. So,
it is on.
All right. Next up, the DualShock 5 patents have been appearing online. Patents have appeared for the assumed PS5 controller. While the controller looks very similar to the DualShock 4, there are some differences. Just for a few, the controller does not feature a light bar on the front of the controller. There's an emphasis on the microphone on the controller as well. The triggers are adaptive, meaning they can offer a variety of resistances, such as increasing as you pull an arrow back. And of course, lo and behold, USB-C will be utilized to charge the controller. Mike over there drooling.
I'm so excited about USB-C. Also, I want it to be known, I'm glad that our new bullshit feature of the generation is going to be adaptive triggers. Nobody's going to use that.
Well, it's not new. I mean, it's just they've had it on the Dreamcast and on the GameCube.
Right.
Like
It's been
it's
missing
like
for a while.
like it's I believe it was analog, right? If I'm not mistaken,
I'm
analog
not sure.
triggers.
They
If
said
I'm not mistaken.
they called
Well,
them
they're calling
adaptive.
it adaptive, but they were called analog triggers, where depending how much you pushed in, it showed in the game. So if you're only clicking in halfway, the car is
Right.
going half the speed. Clicking in
Oh,
all
no,
the
no,
way,
no.
it's going no.
Oh,
This is
That's wrong.
different. Basically, the trigger can so you know how when you push a trigger, it's always the same like
Yeah.
pressure. What they're saying is that the pressure can change as you're pulling the
yeah.
trigger,
Think of it
becoming
as
more
like
difficult to
coiling
pull down.
coiling a spring.
Right,
Like
exactly.
it's
Oh, okay.
there's not as much resistance.
Yeah, yeah.
So instead of okay, I see.
Instead of it being consistent, it may increase in tension.
Yes, depending on what you're doing. Like I can see
Right.
where okay.
Like pulling a boat back.
You
Like
know,
pulling an
Yeah.
arrow back on a boat, yeah.
you
I'm
know,
not sure that's going to be used, if I'm going
one
to be honest.
thing that is something important to think about.
Sure.
The DualShock 4 was a very nice controller. It was very light, felt good in the hand. So when you think of someone trying to one up their controller like that, like they had the DualShock 4, a lot of these things are really just quality of life. Like, for example, the light bar on the back, it wasn't really well received. And the thing it was used for was even put on the controller for wasn't really used. That, like, what was the game app where it would, like, track the light bar?
Yeah, but the primary purpose of the light bar is for VR. It's for PSVR.
Yeah.
And the rumors are is that PSVR 2 isn't going to have a camera, like a PlayStation camera, so you're not going to need it.
That's good. And then, of course, the light bar, they already did an update to lower the brightness because of the freaking battery-killing, eye-burning brightness.
Even now, even on the lowest setting, it's still so bright.
Yeah, it's still pretty bright on the lowest setting.
It's like absurd how bright it is.
Speaking of controllers, does the Xbox One still have trigger vibrations?
I think so. I think the Elite controller does.
Trigger vibrate? I don't know what that means.
Like the triggers vibrate?
Out of the trigger, yeah. I think the Elite controller has it. I don't think the stock one does.
The stock one did have it, though, when it first came out. Because I remember when I first got the Xbox One, I was playing Battlefield 4. And it was so annoying shooting because the trigger would vibrate, and I felt like it was just messing up my aim for some reason.
He goes, ha ha ha.
I immediately turn vibrate off on most games. Like, I just hate vibration. I don't know. It like messes with my hands. So I just turn it off most of the time. So I'm not even sure, if I'm going to be honest with you. The first thing I did when I got my Elite controller was like turn off vibration, turn down vibration.
Oh no, I've gotten so used to vibration.
I don't like it, but teach their own.
Oh, also, before we move on, just a random fact. Do you know that Stadia actually works with the Switch Pro controller?
Not surprising.
Yeah, it should
you could just connect.
They had it announced, like when
I know.
before Stadia came out.
It's just a funny thing to see, like all the supported controllers, and it supports the Switch Pro controller. And I think of trying to play a shooter with those. I think of it supports the Joy-Con.
I believe it does, because I remember when before Stadia came out, when they were talking about all the controllers, that they were talking about the Switch Joy-Cons as well as the Pro controller, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, maybe not the Joy-Con yet, but I know that for the Switch for the Switch Pro controller right now, you can play a shooter with those horrible, not triggers that are just buttons in the place of the triggers.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, Jason, you're next.
Yes. So.
Yes.
Game announcements and release dates. Valve announces a new Half-Life game, and it's
is it Half-Life 3?
3? No.
Immediate disappointment.
They announced a new Half-Life VR game titled Alex. So,
which is a thing, I guess.
It's spelled with a Y. One good thing I did read about this is that it is not going to be one of those versions of VR games where it's kind of like a game light. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
where it's like a 4-hour game.
Yeah, no, this is a real game. This is a game coming to VR.
Well, that's good.
Well, I'm going to check it out because it's coming to all VR PC
iterations,
console / assessment attachment thingies. So that means Vive, Quest, Rift, Microsoft Mixed Reality, all that fun stuff.
Whatever happened to the augmented reality headset Microsoft was working on? Did that come out?
Not for consumers. It's still out for like designers and stuff. It's really expensive. But I'm waiting for the day that they do release like a really affordable consumer version.
Yeah, because it looked like they were trying to create really cheap ones to release that were like going to be like $100, $150 or something.
Well, that wasn't from Microsoft. That was from other partners like LG and stuff.
Yeah. That's what it was.
They were using Microsoft software but creating their own hardware.
Okay, that's kind of cool. So like Android, basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. So we're good on that. There probably was other release date stuff, but that was obviously the biggest announcement of the week. So, moving on to the big boy news. Amazon is reportedly getting into game streaming in 2020. We've discussed this prior, but now there seems to be more details. According to sources speaking with CNET, the company is preparing for a potential 2020 Christmas launch. Rumors ran around earlier this year that the company was looking to expand into streaming and has been adding studios to its portfolio for quite some time. As we know, they've released a couple of games already on mobile, and they released that one racing game on PS4 and Xbox. So they're doing stuff. I just don't know. I don't know. I was discussing with somebody else on like Amazon obviously has great server capacity. Like they already invested in all of that because they have video and everything Amazon's been working on. But I don't know how that's going to work out for them, especially because we're seeing it with Stadia now where like it's a thing, you can do it. So I don't know.
This stuff isn't new though. Like we've had game streaming services
Right.
since like 2010
But
on live.
But
Right.
nothing that can really kind of replace hardware.
Yeah, and we're
Right.
still at that point because America's internet infrastructure is just trash.
Are you
Yeah.
you ready for some pro capitalism speak right now?
Go for it.
You know what's got me super excited? The more competition there is for these streaming services, just the better they're gonna get.
That's true.
The
That
better
actually
they're
in
gonna
and of
get.
itself
The better
will
what's
actually
going to
be true.
get.
The streaming services.
We need
But-
the internet to be better
Yeah,
first.
I agree.
We need the ISPs to not be shit in America.
I agree with you on that. I was discussing this with somebody else earlier in the week, but the big issue is that fiber died pretty fucking quickly because some background dealings. Basically, Google was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do fiber everywhere," and then can't do that. And they're like, "Oh, okay, I guess we just won't do that then." And then AT&T is like, just kidding, we're gonna put fiber everywhere." So
I mean, Stadia works okay. It definitely can't replace a service right now, but Stadia, like, there's no input lag on my end. It's all just game stuttering.
No, and I still am excited for Stadia. But we're still at the point where, like, for me, for example, I have a large house with many people in my house, and I have the fastest internet I can get here, which is like 100 and almost at 200 megs down and like 50 up.
Right.
And if I have like a regular daily use of like 3 or 4 TVs streaming Netflix and Hulu, my daughter's playing on, the Switch online and mobile devices connected and my internet cameras and everything else I have that's, my Google Homes and whatnot, it's going to severely affect my Stadia performance.
Take it from me, I've already tested it.
Between that and then like the rural areas of America that doesn't get anywhere near a decent quality internet connection, it's it has a long way to go. Like I want that to be the future. We just have so many roadblocks in the way at the moment.
Right.
The more competition, the better though the services like will work because they'll constantly be trying to one up each other.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with you on the streaming end 100%, but the issue is still the ISPs. The ISPs have no competition. That's why that's why it's not getting better. Like my in-laws, they live closer to where Jason used to live, and like they literally have one provider. The provider sucks, and the internet structure there is like 10 years old. They only get like 10 megs per second. Like, and they were paying the same amount of money I am for 100 megs per second.
Oh yeah, it's a
so
ripoff.
like, yeah, dude, it's a whole mess. So like, definitely an infrastructure. I agree with you on the streaming thing, but the infrastructure thing is still a problem for us. I think it'll be less so in Europe though, because it seems like they're actually investing in it. So
okay,
we'll have to see.
Moving on. Speaking of Stadia,
Move on to Stadia.
Stadia launches. Stadia launch has. Jesus Christ, Michael.
It's supposed to be read as I didn't put a comma. I'm sorry. Stadia launches. Users report overheating. There you go.
Yes, Stadia launches. Users. Let me take a breath for a sec. Stadia launches. Users report overheating of their Chromecast Ultra. Some users on Reddit, so take it with a grain of salt, have stated that their Chromecast Ultras have been overheating to the point of them completely dying. Not just shutting down, dying.
Oh, that's fun.
This has, according to reports, been an issue with the Chromecast Ultra for some time. The main issue is that Google's response has been basically, hey, it's completely normal that these things are getting hot. We've done extensive testing and there's no thermal shutdown problems. This is not making anyone any happier. Just saying. So, I haven't had mine shut down. I haven't really used it. I tested Stadia on the TV once using the Chromecast, and it worked okay. I did notice though when I unplugged it, when it was just idle for a little bit, it was very hot, just from it sitting idle with no games or anything running on it. It's very hot.
Right, which is abnormal. And we talked about it a bit. Stadia running it that way and Chromecast being that way is weird because the original Chromecast didn't have overheating issues. At least mine didn't. And I haven't heard of any of this until recently because ultimately the reason people buy Chromecast is basically to upgrade their HD TVs that aren't smart TVs. That's really the only reason people buy them. So they're becoming less useful as time goes on as well. So I haven't really heard this, but when it popped up somewhere, I think Daryl tagged me in it. That's where I ended up seeing it. Or no, I saw it this morning. That's where it was. I saw it on Twitter this morning. And I was like, that's weird. That's like a really weird abstract thing. You would think that they would get like the heating right. How does that even happen since it's not a hardware-based thing? It's not really running anything. It's just checking for the internet connection, right?
I want to say that there's something in there.
Neither of us work in technology.
Right.
And I have a mild electronics from school. I have a mild electronics understanding.
Right.
But from what I can tell, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was looking for the name. Go ahead.
And I think it's not so cut and dry there, Mike. I think, and also don't forget that these Chromecast Ultras are special ones. They're the ones that are updated with the ability to use Stadia.
Right.
So that might even be why they didn't commercially update all of the Chromecasts yet.
Maybe. But my thing is that
could be causing it is the power adapter.
Because
the power adapter, when it's pulling 4K content or something that's extremely high res, it's pulling in more power. It's using more power. So that's what it could be, is the power adapter that's internal of it.
Is it it's USB, right? It's not outlet. It doesn't plug into an outlet.
Oh, it plugs into an outlet. It plugs into an outlet, and
that's why.
It also has an Ethernet port on the outlet piece, which is weird on the power brick.
Last week, I think you and I discussed that.
I'm not going to complain though. I mean,
I was unsure if it came with one or not, but it's a good thing that it does.
Yeah, it's on the power brick. It's just in a weird place, but it's good that you can hardwire your connection through there to get the best possible service.
Right. It's good that you can hardwire this thing that is entirely sold to you for the premise of being able to go anywhere with it. It's a good thing that you could just get a console.
The Chromecast, though, this is if you want to play it on the TV. That's just specifically for TVs.
I mean, if you think about it, it's almost like a computer. I'm looking at the chipset now. It has a little CPU, some RAM. So it could just be heating up. There's not really cooling methods in here. It has like a heat sink. Very small little thing, but
just wait until they start partnering with TV companies and for their smart TVs and have a Stadia app built right into the UI. So you
that's what I would prefer.
Speaking of the app, just on the, I want you to get to your point. This is just a sidebar. Speaking of that, you and I still have the same TV, I believe, Chris. The LG, or did you get a different LG?
Are you talking about the 41-inch?
Yeah, you got the same. You got a bigger one, right? But it's the same model.
It's. I don't think it's the exact same model. It has like the magic remote and stuff now.
Okay, I don't know what the difference between that. I think I have the older model, but it doesn't.
It's like a digital remote. Is basically, and it's bigger. Yeah, it's like a 50.
Okay, fair enough. My question for what was actually when Disney Plus came out, it auto downloaded the app onto my TV, which I just thought was funny. Yeah, it just was like. It just auto-downloaded it. I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I just have this now."
I guess I have.
I just have this app installed.
With Apple releasing Apple TV to select TVs, like all my TVs are the Samsung's like 7 series in different sizes throughout the house. Because I just really like that one. with them releasing the update and having Apple TV everywhere, I don't even need my Apple actual TV anymore. Like,
Right.
it's useless. It's just a brick because I can access my entire library and everything else that was
On the
associated
TV.
with Apple TV right on the TV. So I'm waiting for
Right.
Stadia to do that. That's going to be really good for them.
Right. That's when it'll be more viable for a lot of people, honestly.
Future
Also,
is now, old man.
it should prevent that overheating issue, right? Because it's not gonna at that point. It's not really gonna be using much except for the TV hardware, I assume.
Yeah.
So
I mean, the
that'd be
TV is
interesting.
streaming 4K as it is with no problems. It should be able to stream the game
Right.
because the game's not running on the TV.
Right. Exactly. So that should be fun.
But anyway, we are digressing.
That's
So-
true.
Try and check us out at least once a week. That's how often we try and do this. You might like what you find. I am and have been Ambassador Chris.
I will always be Ambassador Jason.
And I will always be Ambassador Michael. And
I don't
apparently
know
also
why
live
it
in a
got
cardboard box.
I don't know why this got super sentimental. I will always be this. I will
I'll
always
always-
be this.
It's
I
'cause
was,
you-
I was riding off of you.
We will always see you next time.
Yeah.
All right, we're gone. Bye.
Bye, guys.